can have no other nation where a man could pull a gun and hold a country to ransom. Then plead for amnesty and get away scot-free. Then we had to turn around and pay him for mutiny. If was in Iran or Afghanistan or down by Saddam, he facing firing squadron. But our motto when man get on board in Trinbago is hold and Lego. Trinbago you're nice, yes. Trinbago you're nice, Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. Girl, you still is a paradise. Let me sing Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice, yes. Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. Girl, you still is a paradise.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
The other day when Pan get a play, the national instrument people say, Pan they jump and say Dolak should be the way Pan they. That is what he say. Mama Gizam is the middle name. We so move along, we have no shame. We always want someone to blame. We say that Robbie was high and mighty. Manning come down and play Romy. We find he too ordinary. We love to complain, we go complain, complain and complain, and then put back Robbie again. Trinbago you're nice, yes. Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. Girl, you still is a paradise. We are say Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. Girl, you still is a paradise. Because we reject Jesus as Lord, we have an increase of murder, suicide, incest and fraud. In our children's school bag is gonna nice. Man running down man before see the wives. Teenage pregnancy is on the rise. But we could say sorry to the God of heaven, tell him sorry, beg him to forgive we iniquity, and then trust in his loving mercy. But no, we want to party, get on hard and ride we donkey, and Satan laughing at we with glee. Here he, Trinbago you're nice, Trinbago you're nice, Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. I will make you a satanic paradise. Satan says Trinbago you're nice, Trinbago you're nice, Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. I will make you a satanic paradise. Yes, this is a blessed country, I agree. But if we keep living foolishly, God go punish we. Naturally, we're practicing too much ingratitude. Our human behavior is oh so crude. We're too lewd, we must change we attitude. Listen my people, read and accept the Holy Bible. The power of Jesus Christ forever will make us an example to the rest of the world. We would be as a precious pearl, shining much brighter than gold. Then we could sing Trinbago you're nice, yes, Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice, 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 nice. Girl, you still is a paradise. Yes man, Trinbago you're nice. Trinbago you're nice. Times are getting harder for sure, but we still have so much to thank the Father for. Yes, there was
Oh mind learn to see that the further we stray from Jehovah's roadmap, is the more we invite in misery. There's no better way in this world for peace and total rest. Tried and tested, Christ's way is the best. No philosophy, no creed could ever supersede what the Holy Bible, wonderful oracle, showing the people. Oh yeah, and two shall be in the field, one shall be taken. Oh yeah, two shall be at the wheel, only one will fly. Every stone shall be upturned and false doctrine shaken, while God's truth and his people are lifted high. Yeah, the Father never needed religion or systems of it. His word stands on its own and proves its worth. Yesterday, today, forever. God's promises changes never, and true government is when God leads the leader. Lead them on, yeah. True government is when God leads my leaders. Oh, oh yeah. Badila da badila pampade. Serious thing now. Well, hear the message in the rhythm. Oh yeah. Badila da badila pampade. Problem number one is so plain and simple. Religion, it has sentenced God to death. With falsehood and folly, they blindfold simple people for power and the profit that they get. Some would burn you at the stake, rack you and wheel you out for mere denial or even doubt. With violence and bribery they try, is your soul they want to buy. But Jesus said, come freely, all who labor and are weary, come rest in me. Christ say, rest in me.
Alright, so good afternoon again, Trinidad and Tobago, and those of you who locked onto the street 919 FM, you know, I would have spoke to you guys about something I planned to do. Now, when I had planned to do the award for the gentleman and the the gentleman actually, because I thought it was just one. Then I get to find out it's two young men, so you know, it's a different situation. But I am going to do what I have to do, right? We're going to do what we have to do. So let's give you all an update when it's concerned. You know, there's never a dull moment in Trinidad and Tobago, eh? So, yesterday, we talked about, what's his name? Was the president name? Leroy Baptiste. Spoke about Mr. Leroy Baptiste and the situation at PSA. And that situation at PSA is a serious situation because democracy must stand out. You know, a caller had called and said, who gave you the right to talk about democracy, about anybody? You did a democracy and whatever. But the reality is that we're talking about democracy, and yes, democracy must stand out. Right? Democracy must stand out. So for Mr. Leroy Baptiste, I don't know, I wish if the media, somebody in the media, because I have been trying to call Mr. Baptiste and he's not answering. I would like to find out from Mr. Baptiste, how is he going to, what is the plan going forward? Because one hand you hear Mr. Baptiste talking about he's going to take it to court, he's taking it to court. What, I thought the Privy Council is our last appeal. But as I was saying to my aunt yesterday, I really want to see how he's going to do this. Or my aunt was saying to me that he cannot, she had all waited to see as a lawyer. She's a lawyer and she waited to see. So I don't know. I better call my father. He may be able to tell me what Leroy Baptiste could do. Because it is weird, it is strange. But we're seeing in the news, and I want to highlight this. Right? I just want to touch on this a little bit. I'm not going to talk too long on it. When I seen where Ms. Bissessa is asking for observers to come for the general election next year. She's asking for observers to come. It's all in the news. It's all up in the news. You're seeing it in the news. But she's asking for observers to come to do what they needful, to do the needful for our general election. And there are some persons who are saying that the observers come. There are some people who are saying our elections has always been fair and free and fair of anything. But I think we should get observers, you know. Based on how the opposition going on, I think we should get observers. I think we should. Right? That's my take on it. I think we should get observers. Right? I seen where also in the news. So in the news, opposition leader pen a 17-page letter to the Prime Minister calling for observers. Right? Yeah. So Ms. Bissessa is saying, here what's going on. We want observers to come to observe our elections. I say in here, bring them. I think they should pay for them. But you know what? Let me start. Let me start. I think she should pay if she wants observers. Then she should pay for the observers. This is not joking, you know, but something is at the laugh it off, you know. She wants observers. If you want observers, then pay for the observers. we must pay for the observers that you want. Look.
I have written a letter to the Prime Minister. It should be delivered sometime tomorrow because he was out the country. Formally requesting that the government of TNT invite independent international election observers for the upcoming elections. No, I don't know if the man will read my letter. It's 17 pages long.
Opposition leader Kamla Bissessa calls the presence of international observers in the upcoming general election a very important exercise.
In that letter I set out, we were one of the few countries who refused to allow international observers. You remember that? At one point he said they want money, and he don't have no money. But our history has always been for fair and free democratic elections to have international observers. And we are going to stick to that, and we will repeat it ad nauseum.
She says the UNC and the PNM are not the same and hints towards another coalition in 2025.
Many groups and individuals have approached us to work towards victory in the elections upcoming. They all say that we have the plans, we have the policies, we have the programs ready to turn our country around. UNC has a political will. We have the intellectual capital.
But before the election, there is to be a budget.
On Friday, when I asked Minister Imbert, when is the budget? That budget is due by the end of September. Which date is it? But I said, don't worry, I'll make an announcement Monday. Was he in the Senate today? It's tomorrow, so let's see he makes that announcement. Because I've been told the government is broke. They have no money.
And the government, she says, must not stand in the way of public officers carrying out their duty.
He denies the Auditor General the right to review essential central bank data. Last week I asked and I repeated, why? Why are you denying the Auditor General the right to examine these records? Because that's her job.
Bissessa then took on Health Minister Terence Singh for what she termed flip-flopping when it comes to the nation's health.
And then want to come and call Kamla like I'm your daughter or something. I'm nothing to you. I want to be nothing to you. But you have a duty to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And as you did with the COVID, it's happening with the dengue now too.
She reflected on the handling of the COVID pandemic and in particular on the government, media and business sectors for forcing vaccinations onto the population.
That is the irresponsible, ignorant advice of the media house editors, business chambers and government at that time. Where was the science then? How many citizens are now suffering the ill effects of these fake vaccines, that they were forced to take them and they had to choose between the job and the job? To this day, none of them who push mandatory vaccines have apologized for their irresponsible roles.
And she gave this piece of advice to those suffering from side effects.
Any citizen experiencing poor health and side effects of these vaccines, where your employer forced you to take the vaccine, you may now have grounds for legal action in the courthouse. And I will say, sue them, seek redress.
Urvashi Tiwari, Rupnarayan, TV6 News.
So wait now. So Ms. Bissessa is telling people to sue the government. If you're feeling any side effects from the vaccine, sue them. Sue them. I want to ask a simple question. Anybody could remember Ms. Bissessa and Dr. Munilal and they telling people to go and take the vaccine? Before you even reach to making your statements, you are part of urging citizens to go and take the vaccine. Won't you, Ms. Bissessa? Well, let me just remind you a little bit now because I feel you just forget. I think you just forget a little bit, Ms. Bissessa. For my duty is to remind you now. You know what I mean? My duty is to remind Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, I could remind all you. You remember this? Anybody remember hearing this? This is not AI voice, eh? This is real.
I will spend a little time on that later, but I think there's some important issues to be raised. Let me make it very clear at this point in time that the UNC supports initiatives aimed at saving lives and saving livelihoods. We support initiatives to get the virus under control. However, we reserve the right to raise concerns and to keep holding the government to account. We support vaccination as a priority. This is the only real measure that will bring the virus down. So we support vaccination as a priority in the fight against COVID. In this regard, we recommend that you consult your doctor because each person's health is different. And therefore consult your doctor and make your decision, but vaccination is a priority at this time. We continue to urge government to take all essential steps to get sufficient vaccines for our population. Already.
So wait now, you telling the government, back then you were telling the government, get sufficient vaccines, this and that and the next, and only support vaccination. But now you're telling the people to go and sue the government. You serious? And that's what I'm talking about. The flip-flopping, the games playing, I don't understand it. And I will never understand it because I can never support anything like this. Seriously. So you telling people now one thing, you telling people, oh, this and that, fake vaccines, but you the one who was urging people to go and get. But listen to this. Listen, eh? Listen.
We are way under even our own CARICOM partners here in the region in terms of the numbers vaccinated, in terms of percentage of our population. In this regard, in accessing vaccines, I know the Prime Minister threw his hands up in the air when last he spoke about we can't get vaccines, and that is
the fake vaccines, eh? That she talking about now, eh? Listen to her statements. Listen to her back then.
It's been his cry all along. There are not sufficient vaccines. Well, Prime Minister, pride cometh before the fall. Put your pride away and write to the United States or call upon the United States, because the US has now announced, President Biden has announced that they will be giving away more vaccines. So in addition to those that
which one, the fake ones or the real ones?
Were announced before, the President is now saying they have more vaccines that they would like to donate. So Prime Minister, I call upon you, and indeed I take the bold step to ask the United States to please send some vaccines out of this latest batch. And
so you asking for vaccines too? The fake ones or the real ones? I just had to ask. Sorry, but I had to ask. Because you're telling people now that it was fake. And you now was begging for. You begging for back then. And now telling people it was fake. Come on.
The previous batch to Trinidad and Tobago. So we support vaccination. The government has been saying that we are sabotaging the vaccination program. Well, first of all, we are sabotaging the vaccination program. Can you tell us when and where we did that? Because that has not happened.
Right. So you're hearing? You hear? You hearing? Ole, I don't know, you know. I can't. I'm sorry for Ole, yes? Trinidad and Tobago, Ole, this we serious? You all remember this?
Ask all of you.
How many of you all remember this? God, I don't know now.
Vaccines are available. Please, unless there's a medical issue or a religious issue that we don't know, unless there's a medical issue or a religious issue, I beg all of you, all, please go and get the vaccine. And at this stage, brothers and sisters, don't bother with which vaccine it is and which vaccine.
I mean, don't bother which vaccine or which vaccine. Only now telling people all the vaccine was fake. But you hear how back then they were saying it doesn't matter what vaccine, go and get vaccinated. But now you're coming to tell Trinidad and Tobago. In the news, you know, you're telling Trinidad and Tobago, well, it was fake.
Whether it's paracetamol, Panadol, Tylenol, whatever, don't bother with that now. Your first job is to take the vaccine.
I sorry, yes. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about PSA. I'm sorry. I prefer to talk about PSA. I don't want to talk about this. Because if I talk about this, you know what? This is annoying. I'm not taking no calls on this. No, because we will get ourselves in trouble. Let me don't talk about this now. Let me talk about something else. Let me talk about PSA. Only think about this PSA president. Eh? Only really think about this PSA president. Yeah, let me talk about the PSA president and this PSA issue. Right? Let's take a little listen to what is really going on with PSA. I would like to know what is really going on with PSA. Right? I am not taking any calls on that Miss Bissessa statement. Anytime I start to talk about that, I'm gonna change the topic. So let's take in a little statement by what went on, what's going on with this PSA.
And it has been a long while.
We have brought you out of your bed this morning, Mr. Calendar. But as we look as to what has transpired with this revenue authority, we know that the PSA has been fighting this. We know that the government has been asking for this. In fact, the finance minister continues to say, now we can modernize revenue collection in Trinidad and Tobago. How do you see all of this?
Well, the PSA has been fighting this for quite a number of years. Remember, the PSA took a decision to actually send one of its own executive officers into Parliament in 2010, Christopher Joe Field. And the PSA went to the highest court of the land, which is the Parliament, to lay claim to our position that we do not only we rejected the TTRA, but we also rejected the manner in which the employer, the state, is moving ahead with the restructuring of the public service. We looked at the fact that while the PSA or any union cannot stop the employer from restructuring, the PSA as the recognized majority union has a say in it. However, when we look at what transpired in 2010, the bill was defeated because the state at the time came to Parliament with a special majority bill. In this case, the present employer, which is the government, in 2021 came with a simple majority bill. And in September 2021, with the help of, I believe, some independent opposition senators, the bill was passed by a simple majority and quickly assented to. The only thing that was not assented to or proclaimed was Section 18. And Section 18 of the bill deals with the 4 options available to public officers. And that is where, from that 4 in 2021 to now, we have now reached the Privy Council, and the Privy Council has spoken, and it has said it is good law.
What does this mean for public servants?
Well, good law in our in our mind means that the state has, or the employer has won. But in that judgment, this morning I read the judgment for 8th time. Because while before the PSA could have used moral persuasion, could have used negotiations, maneuvering, meeting and treating with the employer on how we go about the restructuring of the public service. This is not just a TTRA issue. This has far-reaching consequences for persons under the teaching service, prison, fire, and most of all, the civil service. While we could have used all of that before, the law lords have given the employer, the government, a clear blueprint as to how to treat with special majority legislation using a template from the TTRA bill. So that is where we are at right now. The PSA has lost. The PSA has suffered a devastating loss. But it was not unexpected. We have an individual there as the president of the PSA who has absolutely minus zero knowledge of the civil service. They continue to approach industrial relations as a bull in a china shop, and they continue to lose cases. In this case, the public service have literally been given a blueprint to be changed forever from what we know it here.
Yeah. I want you to dig a little deeper, because I think that this matter has been going on for so long. As you would have said, it has been going on for years.
Yes. And
so many things have been said about this matter. There have been so many developments. But I think along the way, the true crux of this matter, because of so many things that would have been said, I think that some people are confused. And so if we are specifically speaking to public servants this morning, how should they feel about this development, this ruling of the Privy Council?
They should be absolutely concerned, because I will tell you something. The PSA's position and base position on the TTRA or any restructuring in the public service is to maintain income, job security, and the protection of public officers under the Public Service, the Civil Service Act, Public Service Commission regulations. The Privy Council would have affirmed the position of the Service Commission, which deals with hiring, discipline, promotion. They have affirmed that. However, if the Service Commissions, as time go on, don't have anybody to hire, to appoint, to discipline, the Service Commission becomes redundant. In this case, what we are seeing here is clearly the core functions of the public service, which means give us the right to exist, has been maintained in this judgment. However, the law lords reaffirmed that the state's prerogative to abolish posts in the public service. The state can take that. Another thing is the state can use now semi-autonomous or fully autonomous from the civil service institutions to carry out civil service duties and responsibilities. But Marlon, nothing in that judgment that the law lords handed down, the state could not have done that before, you know. However, based on the relationship between union and management, both sides doesn't really want matters to be going before the courts now, because both sides are afraid.
No, I hope you are listening to what he's saying, eh? I really hope people listening to what he is saying. And in my mind, the reality of it is, the unions, to me, has to learn to be able to negotiate properly And you know, if you can't negotiate and you're playing, but you see his behavior, right? The president's behavior is one of political. Remember, he said it, you know. So that's why he has been taking the high-handed approach of, let's take it to court. Because he is political. He has made his political allegiance known. So while Mr. Nixon is now, Calendar is trying to now, try to bring some sort of, to me, I could be wrong, explanation where, hey, it's really about communication and about negotiations. So the government, yes, could want to bring the revenue authority, but if the unions can make an input into how it can be, you know, I don't know now. I sorry, you know, Trinidad and Tobago.
Of the pronouncements, because they could go for or against either side. So both sides must meet, treat, maneuver, negotiate. But you have a PSA president on Labor Day saying, I'm not going to be meeting and treating with the government.
Okay, you see? You see what I'm saying, Trinidad and Tobago? You understand? So you have a president who take a position. He had already taken a position and playing. But I want to know. I'm going to call a lawyer, you know. I'm going to call a lawyer. Because I need to be clear in my mind. What could he do? What can he do? Where could this go? What is he going to do? So while I get the lawyer on the line, I just want to play something for you, right? While I get the lawyer on the line, right? I said I'm gonna leave this. I'm really going to leave this alone. But I can't leave this alone until I have to play this. I have to play this. Okay? I have to play. Sorry, I can't leave this alone. You see, after that newscast, I can't leave this alone. So while I get the lawyer on the line, I want you all to listen to this, okay? Take a listen to this now. No, as I said, I'm not discussing it, eh? I just bring the awareness. I need to bring the awareness. I can't do all that work. I need to bring the awareness.
Government of this country, do you at this time have a clue as to when this country will receive or have possession of 1.4 million doses for 700,000 persons to equate to herd immunity? Do you have a clue of when this country will have mass administration of vaccines?
Prime Minister.
I just said that we expect in short order to begin off receiving our supply from COVAX. That will be the beginning of a flow of vaccine into this country. The COVAX commitments are in place, and Madam Speaker, understand that we don't make vaccines, and vaccines cannot be bought on demand in the world. And Madam Speaker, we don't make vaccines, and worse, vaccines cannot be bought on order in today's world. That situation will improve in the months ahead. We have commitments, we have discussions in place, we have contracts in place, we have payments in place, and given the world supply, Madam Speaker, to answer the question from the member of Puchis, as I speak to you now, we are looking at about mid-year, that the availability and flow by May, June, July, August, that the flow of vaccines into our country would be such that we would be very busy vaccinating the population, and we expect that the marketplace, the availability of vaccine in the marketplace towards the end of the year would not be a problem, because there'll be more suppliers and larger volumes which are no longer commandeered but available to small countries like ours.
Member for Oropuch is?
Could I ask the Prime Minister if the Prime Minister has a specific and precise response to a question? Is there any update on the request made by this government for the provision of World Health Organization approved vaccines from the Republic of India?
The answer is no. There's no update.
The answer is no. There's no update. I wonder which vaccine it was, the real one or the fake one. I don't know. All you can tell me. Anyway, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dad. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you answering me so?
And how are your listeners?
My listeners going very good. They're missing you though.
Yeah, but I'm missing them too.
You always saying that. You always talking that. Anyway, it was nice seeing you Saturday though.
Oh, yeah, it was good to see you, man. You're losing weight.
Dad, I call it to talk about the...
You get real small.
Dad, we talking about the Privy Council. I call it to talk about the Privy Council. And, you haven't losing my chest, I thought. Hey, we are national radio, you know.
It's blusher here, and you're blushing there.
Dad, we talking about the Privy Council and the PSA. Right? When you appeal a matter, okay, so the PSA would have appealed the matter concerning the revenue authorities. They went to the courts of Trinidad and Tobago. The courts of Trinidad and Tobago said, here what, we don't have a case. And they would have felt as though, here what, we go down to the board. So they went to the law lords. And the law lords also said that, hey, here what, the government has all rights to be able to collect their taxes. But I'm hearing the president of the PSA saying that he's going to take the matter back to court. Is that possible?
All right. So usually what happens, I think the matter was first heard in the High Court before Justice James.
Yes.
All right. And I think Justice James' ruling would have agreed with the Privy Council.
Yes.
But it was appealed by the state. And I think the Court of Appeal would have dismissed the state's appeal. I hope I have it right. And then the state would have taken it to the Privy Council. And there the Privy Council would have upheld the ruling of Justice James in the High Court. So usually, when the Privy Council upholds the ruling of the court, whether it's the Court of Appeal or the High Court, in this instance, they would have upheld the ruling of Justice James in the High Court. It goes back to that court for final adjudication or something like that. But if you are saying that the PSA is saying they're going to take it back to court, they can't. I don't know that they could go back with that same claim or whatever before the High Court. That is it. Once the Privy Council rules, that is it. It's the final court of adjudication. We're trying to make it the Caribbean Court of Justice, but we need some kind of special majority or something to get that passed. But yeah, once the Privy Council rules, that is it, as far as I am aware, and there's no issue with it again.
But is there any, okay, so could they go before the court with let's say let's just say workers' grievance or some could they phrase the case in another way?
I don't know that they could take that same statement of case and those same pleadings and twist it in another way to start a whole new matter. The whole issue is that the PSA were against the government establishing the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority as the authority recognized to collect revenue in Trinidad and Tobago. And if I am clear, now usually you may have 3 law lords or 5 law lords accordingly sitting on a matter. I don't know if it was unanimous, but I think, I mean, usually you may have 3 justices agreeing and 2 dissenting. And it's always good to read the dissenting judgments, because in the dissenting judgments, those would be the law lords who disagreed with the ruling of the majority.
Right.
And usually they have good arguments inside their dissenting judgments that would support what the PSA is trying to say, or some of the PSA's arguments. If you understand. So what the PSA could take away from it is, okay, we lost at the Privy Council. We lost at the Privy Council. But there were 2 dissenting judgments. 2 law lords disagreed. with the majority, and they are supporting some of our arguments, and they even made some suggestions. So probably there may be some suggestions in there that they could make some food out of, you know, but generally speaking, once that is it, well, not generally speaking, factually speaking, once the food on it, that is it.
But what I'm getting some messages saying that it was the PSA that took the government or took it to the Privy Council.
Well, it doesn't matter. They lost. Sometimes I remember a long time when I growing up. When mommy beat me and I go and complain to daddy, I used to get licks again. You know?
That's what happened there. That's what happened there.
Right? So they get two set of blows, you know. I used to feel that daddy go handle mommy, and daddy used to say, what you do? I used to say, when mommy beat me for so and so, and then he snatched me and say, what you do that for? And sometimes he and my mother beat me too. You know, so whoever took it to the Privy Council, doesn't matter. The Privy Council ruled in favor of the state.
Right.
And Mr. Coleman there was rejoicing. Trust me.
Yeah.
He posted something. We won, and you know, that was a big thing for him.
Yeah.
But I understand some of the arguments, and some of the concerns the PSA has. Yeah, you know, things like collecting revenue and all of that, and you know, that being that power residing in one body or one authority, and you know, I saw some things that kind of worried me a little bit in the papers as to some of the powers of even the minister. Right. You know, in certain instances as to who they could you know, take before whatever authority or whatever boards or whatever they have there. And yeah, a lot of power resides in the minister now, you know. I don't know that that is a 100% victory for the people.
Right.
Maybe a victory for the government.
Some people concerns might be, especially if a change of government, and because while you may think that, you know, one side may try its best to stay within the ambits of being, you know, good, there are some who might use it, and then 10, 15 years down the road we find out that minister would have used his powers in a very, very destructive way. And we see we see it now. We saw it in 2010. We saw it and there was an announcer who used to work here by the name of Nigel Snipes. Always used to say on the radio, when Dr. Eric Williams and Mr. Ellis Clark, Sir Ellis Clark, and all of them were doing the Constitution, and they were doing things with Trinidad and Tobago, they were doing it from a mindset of, you know, people would be honest and true in the office that they would hold. Not knowing after 2010, they realized that mindset has gone out the door.
All right. So that's a good point you're making, because you see, when a government is in power, right, and they create a power for authority or an organization or a public body, it is not every single time that government may be taken into consideration that another government may come into power. Now, you would have given them some powers by the powers you created when you were in government, and they may abuse those powers.
Yeah.
So the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, under the auspices and control of the People's National Movement, may not be the same Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority under UNC. Because I remember there was a time when certain people in the UNC were talking about taking our money in unit trust.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
I was no bacchanal on this cool, calm, collective Wednesday evening. But I remember there was a time when there was some buzz about the other side talking about going into the unit trust. My brother, you know what's revenue? Revenue is income, you know.
Yeah.
When you go in the unit trust and you put $100,000 or you put $50,000, the unit trust corporation, the largest shareholder there is the state. Not so?
Yep.
Right, and it's a $5 billion or $15 billion organization. So when the country is hard pressed for money, who is there to stop the revenue authority or any whatever public body that may be so empowered to go into the unit trust and say, yeah, what, we have to clear some bills, you know, the IMF say they will lend us out 13 billion or whatever, but we had to clear up some bills, or we had to clear up a few things with TNTech owing some money to the National Gas Company or whatever. We go in the unit trust and we pull in a $5 billion. And that your money and my money jumping up there. So what I'm saying is that in creating the TTRA, if UNC come into power next year, that power would be there. And brother, what they would do with it may not be what the PNM would do with it. You understand what I'm saying? Governments, when they're in power, they have to understand when you're creating a power, you're creating that power for the next government too. And they may not be as prudent as the one who created the power. That is my concern.
And that should be all of our concern. Well, yeah, what now? My concern, my concern is that my time gone, and you let's want to take up all the time on the phone, and you won't come in the studio. So you have a good afternoon, eh?
You have a good afternoon too, my brother.
All right, Daddy, we can talk. Yeah. So Shantabigo, you heard it. My father was on the phone line there explaining to me how the Privy Council is the final court of appeal for Trinidad and Tobago. I see the coordinator come with food. That's what we're talking about. I'm going to take some calls. 342-0081-466-5391. Leave it out there, ma'am. I'll have it just now. Hello, good afternoon.
Listen, your father was brilliant. Brilliant.
But
That's the old man.
But he's a brilliant man.
I don't know. I listen to him. Boy, the man makes sense. Makes sense. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you need to take off your headset and talk to me.
You hear me better now?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, ideas like
there's something happening with your phone line.
Sorry about that. I was saying that Daddy look like it's a Mr. Chance on steroids.
Okay. Do encourage him now.
No, but really and truly, if it is, that's the final court of appeal. There's very little wiggle room for them now. And seeing that they were the one who carried it there, you know, they should know that this is good legislation. It is not fly by night. What your dad did explain, however, is the dangers of having the wrong people.
He does always do that to them.
No, but he's what he's saying is real, right? Because you're going to have people who will have misintentions, and we have seen it. The exchequer account gone by $30 billion. We were making billions more because the oil was budgeted at 85 and they was getting 125, and we still cannot account for that difference in revenue, and still end up in a $50 billion deficit. And we see in the media so biased that they're trying to make a $4 billion deficit seems like it's a mountain.
Yeah.
While they had no complaints when we were in a $50 billion deficit. That's what the government took control of. And we do excellent, 1/10 of that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Pastor Gogo.
Good afternoon.
Your father was really good. I think the concerns he had, yesterday in the Senate, and he winding up, Number answers some of those questions.
Serious?
Yeah,
well,
it's winding up.
All right, and, I will have to pull it. I'll have to pull it back and send it for him.
Yeah, and I with respect to going back up to the Youth Council, bring back to mind the Piaco international scandal.
Yeah.
With them fellas run up and down what they call illegal highway with all kind of different arguments. And every time people come to it all, they went back with some stupidness again and it's delayed for years.
So that's what they do.
I don't know how to answer that.
All right.
So we go on to wait and see what they're coming with.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, finally, Pastor. The decision of the Privy Council was a unanimous decision.
Okay, to that, you need to know that.
The five law lords agreed with the one who made the statement. Unanimous. And it was the PSA that took the government to court.
Yeah, I will have corrected Daddy on that.
Please, I hope, yes. The government, they went to the High Court, they lost, they went to the Appeal Court, and they went to the Privy Council. And there was a unanimous decision. And let me just quickly say why that made that decision. The assessment and collection of taxes, you mentioned it, to defray the expenses of the central government of the country. And hear this, is a classic constitutional function of central government.
Thank you.
That is the role of central government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chance. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pastor Gigo.
Hi, good afternoon.
Just one correction to my guru there. You know what I would do. There was one dissenting voice, but that was Lord Diplock. But all he simply said, he considered the collection of taxes a core function of the public officers. That's the only thing, but there was nothing that the PSA could say they could hold on to as anything to challenge. So, but they can't challenge it anyway. That's the end of the story. It cannot be challenged.
Wow.
No, it cannot be challenged. And quickly again, before I say it, Leroy Baptiste always had Section 18 of the TTRA Act at his disposal, because that was not proclaimed by the president. The TTRA bill was part of it, was proclaimed, but not Section 18. And that set out a way for the PSA to sit and meet and treat and negotiate with the government on behalf of the city, on behalf of the custom officers, and they are making sure that the options that were offered, that was put in 2021, that is done smoothly, whether they want to stay, whether they want to move, whatever. Leroy Baptiste would have missed that and take it straight to the court. And that is what caused all this back and forth, because now it is in law. There's nothing much to do more than just to simply go and sit down.
All right. I'm out of here. Trinidad and Tobago, I'm out of here. Thanks for being with me. Talk to you all tomorrow. Please go on.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of The Street 919 FM.